I don't see me represented in the bass to billfish arena. I mean, I see I see women, and we all should see each other as women. However, we have this thing called race, and we have this thing
Sure.
called melanin, and I am loaded with melanin, and there is a stark difference. It has been hard for me chopping my way through
I get you.
um, the industry. It has been grueling. When I tell you some of the stories, it has just been absolutely grueling. And my job at Fishanistas is to make sure that we keep our sisterhood strong, that we're encouraging more and more women to get out and fish. And with fly fishing, my goal before I leave this earth is to get so many more black women fishing.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. So last week on the Women's World of Fishing Monday Night Live with Barbara Harris, we only streamed out to the YouTube channel for the first time. We featured the executive director of Fishanistas, Jeanine Blair. The conversation was so impactful, and the message is one that needs to be heard by everyone in the fishing community. So I wanted to share it with you all here on this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, in case you missed it. We didn't do a Monday Night Live on YouTube this week due to all of us getting ready to fish the first LBA tournament of the year this week on Lake Ray Hubbard in Garland, Texas. But watch out for us next week, and be sure to go and subscribe to the Women's World of Fishing YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that in the show notes below. All right, everyone, get ready to be impacted by Jeanine's message and get ready to color the water. Enjoy. Hello, Jeanine. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm so happy to have you here. For those of you, if if you are on social media and you're in the fishing industry, you have seen this lady somewhere online. She's the founder of Fishanistas. She is actively involved in the community with foundations. Like, she is out there, and even for the men, like Steven, you've probably seen her whether you recognize her or not. Jeanine, it is just amazing to have you here.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
uh,
Very fond of you.
I've had my eye on you for a while, and then I saw that takemefishing.org, and I'm
Mhm.
like, now's the time, whenever I saw that a few weeks ago. But could you just, I guess, start off by telling us how you got involved in fishing and what motivated you to start Fishanistas? And for those of you who don't know, or for those of us that don't know what it is, all about it.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeanine Blair. I am the founder of Fishanistas. The organization was actually founded in 2008. Didn't really give it a name until around 2009. And we just kind of began in church. A
Oh,
lot of, yes,
I
yes.
didn't know that.
Yes,
That's
a lot of the
awesome.
kids from church, I would always, every Sunday. You know how you always have like a little menace kid in church. I
Hmm.
was that menace kid. So the kids would always ask me, Miss Jeanine, what did you catch this weekend? Because I would always show them pictures of my fish. And they were like, will you take me fishing? And I was like, absolutely. You know, that's music to any angler's ear.
Sure.
You know, someone else that actually wants to get involved in the sport. So we ended up having more girls than we had boys. So of course we needed to come up with a name that was ever so fitting. So we came up with Fishanistas. So we've been Doing this since 2008.
And so it just kind of took off from there, just continuing to do that.
It did because I started fishing at the age of about 4 or 5 years
Wow.
old. Yeah, me and my brother. We lived off our land. I'm originally from Kennett, Missouri, where we didn't have. It's a small town, a population about 9,000. We had lots of levees there. Fresh water, of course, it's landlocked, but we did have the levees. So when we would go to the levees, we caught freshwater drum. Not sure if you guys are familiar with goggle eye. We caught goggle
Never
eye.
even heard of it.
Oh, okay, rock bass maybe.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. That's funny.
Okay,
Me and
now,
Angie.
now you
Okay.
really make me date myself. uh, but we caught all these different species of fish and we consume them because we actually, when I tell you we lived off our land, we lived off our land. And it was fun to me and my brother, but it was a way of our family sustaining itself was by
Nice.
fishing. But my uncle, he was everything to me. He was the father figure that was just a mainstay in my life, and the lessons he taught me through fishing, they absolutely stayed. I learned patience. Never wanted my uncle to be mad at me for getting hung up on the logs. But you know, when you're a kid and you see that disappointment
Right.
in their eyes, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to get myself unhung where I don't have to ask. We called him John Lee. I was like, so I don't have to ask John Lee to get me unhung. But my love of fishing absolutely started from my childhood.
And so ever since then, you've pretty much never stopped then.
Never stopped. And it's crazy as it may seem, in my after I had kids, I taught them, of course I taught them how to fish. However, this thing that just kind of grew and developed. Fishing for fun was one thing, but I wanted to know the mechanics behind it. I wanted to know, why did I need a swivel? What did the swivel actually do? And
Mhm.
sometimes those questions were really hard because I really had nobody but my brother to ask those questions to. And back in May of 2010, he and I went fished at the levees. And my gosh, if y'all ever want to take a trip to the jungle that's almost like Jurassic Park, please let me know and I will take you to the levees and the floodways of Kennett, Missouri.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, but it was real snaky. But he taught at that moment. He began to teach me about all my hooks and stuff, the way to tie the knot, and not do this, don't do that. But he kind of took over the spot of my uncle in my education, my learning. I learned a lot from my brother.
And when it comes to with Fishanistas, like I was reading the description page,
Mhm.
it it's well, first of all, I read either there or from Take Me Fishing. I read somewhere that you have 5 daughters.
I do. And they're all grown.
You're like, and praise Jesus, they're all grown.
Oh my goodness. My last one is in high school, Kennedy. She graduates this year, but my kids range from 18 to 27.
Okay, so all but you did get all of them involved in fishing.
Every last
And
one.
and are any of them gonna take it, continue with it? Have any of them picked it up to that?
It's like, eat your food is one of those things, whatever you put on their plate when they're younger, as adults. My daughter and her husband, they actually came to visit me last year when it was kind of bad, but she still loves it. She caught a flounder and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I caught a saltwater fish." She was just so excited because we only had been around freshwater, and for her to catch a flounder on her little vacation and her hiatus with her and her husband, it was awesome. It was awesome to see that she still has the love and the passion for it.
Now,
Don't get upset.
Hmm.
But does anybody only catch and release? You're like, well, no, we don't believe
Do
in that.
we do we have to, as anglers we have a responsibility. No matter how bad sometimes we want to keep the fish, sometimes it is imperative that we release that fish and let it go and let it grow. You have to. There's a time for harvest and there's a time to
Not to.
release. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we're trying to get more into is the
Gotcha.
conservation side. And it's been a challenge because I both spin angle and I fly fish. And getting into fly fishing, everything is solely conservation driven. It is
Really?
everything about keeping the fish wet, learning how to net it, and I can so appreciate them.
I didn't
Um,
know that.
yes, yes, it is. It's very. You will find very few fly fishermen that actually keep their fish. They
That
make sure
You know what?
that
That makes total sense because you see people in waders that are like walking upriver and they don't have no cooler dragging behind them or anything like that.
no, no, no,
Wow.
and it is a gosh, it is a totally different feel of the rod of the bite when you're fly fishing, even catching little brim and red ear perch.
Hmm.
It's just the bite is different, and
Sure.
it's a lot stronger. And I understand now how people become so hooked on fly fishing because it is that tug truly is the drug.
Right.
Really, really is. It really is. But I really appreciate those at Trout Unlimited for doing such a terrific job in the conservation piece.
So when I asked you that, I'm kind of like, is any of your girls thinking like competitive fishing, or would you ever consider competitive fishing, type scenario?
I
Would you be
think,
heartbroken?
it's kind of okay. Freshwater, not so much as far as tournament. Just some of the things that I've heard about the tournament world, and I mean, it's hard anywhere you go. But number
Sure.
one, being a woman, Angie, and you, I, you guys, hats off to you. I don't know how you guys endure. I really don't know how you endure some of the taunts and the issues that you come up against in your tournament fishing careers. I mean, I don't. Hopefully, it's not the same in deep sea fishing. That's one of the announcements that we will soon be making. We are putting together a saltwater team where we are out Mexico, Florida, doing tarpon fishing.
Wow.
Yes, yes, but we're putting together a team right now as we speak to do that.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And
I'm excited. I am so
I, I, so you're going to do this.
we are going to do it. It's just because I don't see me represented in the bass to billfish arena. I mean, I see I see women, and we all should see each other as women. However, we have this thing called race, and we have this thing
Sure.
called melanin, and I am loaded with melanin, and there is a stark difference. It has been hard for me chopping my way through
I get you.
the industry. It has been grueling. When I tell you some of the stories, it has just been absolutely grueling. And my job at Fishanistas is to make sure that we keep our sisterhood strong, that we're encouraging more and more women to get out and fish. And with fly fishing, my goal before I leave this earth is to get so many more black women fishing. A lot of them already fish. We're just not seen. And once again, at the Recreational and Boating and Fishing Foundation marketing workshop, I learned so much. I mean, just in the DEI arena, and you guys will see it. I will share our conference
Absolutely.
with you. It was monumental. It was groundbreaking, and I had a moment. I was in the room with all these government agencies, all the and there was just me. I look around the
Really.
room and I saw no one that reflected me, that didn't look like me. And it was just amazing that when Allie from Cole McVoy, she got up to do her presentation brought me to tears. It was basically about Black women being on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the fishing industry. How we've kind of allowed, when you would hear women of color, you automatically assume that it was a Black woman. But now women of color is all encompassing. If you're not white, you're a woman of color. You're either Asian, Hispanic,
Yep.
Latino, African American. But once again, then here we go. You know, who comes first on that ladder? Even though we would just like to look at it as we're all women in this fight together,
Mhm.
um, it's just I'm trying to change with the platform that I have the narrative of what racism is. I think women in the fishing industry are going to be the ones to do it. We're always the ones to join hands with another woman
Yep.
saying, "Hey, let's go. Let's do this. You want to
Yep.
fish? You want to learn how?" It's that comfort level, and our mission is to abolish it, where we can go to tournaments and compete without having a whole nother issue of feeling like we don't belong, or we're not seen or wanted in a place. So
And
hopefully we can get some of those things changed.
you will. You absolutely will. I have no doubt. And it really breaks my heart that I'm really sensitive when it comes to stuff like this.
Oh,
um
oh,
I just I've worked in mental health my entire adult life, like counseling people, and it hurts to hear that you've been blindsided with something. And like, I'm like you, I would like to think that it's just a, hey, we're all women and we're all in this together. And to hear that, like, some of your sisters have felt unsupported, and I can already tell just by listening to you that it hasn't been just men that have been making you feel like this. I'm assuming that you've probably felt this way in large part because of other women, and that just should not happen. We should be the ones out of everybody that are lifting you up the most, that are grabbing you guys and saying no. Like, we should be the ones that are doing that. And I hate to hear that that's not the case. I,
it takes time. With in everything that we do, it takes time. It takes right people, right places, right time. There are timeless principles that we learn. You, I, we are people. We're human. We are
Mhm.
absolutely human. And I think the more that we do things like this and we have dialogue and
Mhm.
we get to understand some of the needs of one another. It's not just one-sided. We can't do it
Right.
just it's a whole that we have to just say, okay, everything that I've been taught, everything that I know, I've got to lay my biases down. I've
Right.
got to get there with my sisters, and
Mhm.
we've got to break down some barriers where we're all in a place where you guys are going to a fishing tournament. The Fishanistas are going to be there to cheer you on. I mean, bull horns, whatever we have to do. We're gonna make some noise because we're cheering our sisters on. This
Right.
is the way that I would like to see the fishing industry. I would love to see a black woman on the freaking front of Trout Unlimited magazine. You hear me, Trout Unlimited? I mean, there are so many things that we are missing out on. You guys even know, I mean, there are no magazines that, and everyone is asking, what can I do?
Right.
When you find a organization that is actually doing the work, that is putting people and places together to deal with the racial divide and actually have conversations. Miss Mayfly, I have to always bring. Kim Renala is one of the women I admire most. She wasn't afraid to allow me to have a moment at celebrating women at fly fishing. She was like, tell your story. It needs to be heard. Everybody's question was, Jeanine, what can we do? What can we do? Everybody knows what they can do. Find that grassroots organization to tie you. If you can't have the conversation with somebody else black, call me. Call Jeanine. Call Jay. We will have that conversation. We will work together to get more women, and especially the young girls. I
Yep.
tell them, you don't have to, and it comes from church. You don't have to make a decision at the exact moment that you're having it. Go fish. That's why in the video you hear me when you are having a bad day, and that kind of broke me because I've had so many bad days that I've
Yep.
just had to shut everything off and go fish just to cast my cares on God
Mhm.
and let the good times roll. Really, it has been it. Fishing has been spiritual. It has been a medical miracle for me, and I think it's that way for so many other people. But as we talked about in the conference, you got to teach people to swim. A lot of people
Right.
are fearful of the water. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? We take people under our arms, swimming lessons. If we could partner with the Y or somebody to get kids fit to get kids swimming, that's one of the biggest pieces right there. Even in just the African American community, it's kind of the fear of water.
For me, I, I'm kind of sitting here like from my perspective, I was just ignorant. I was ignorant because I didn't know that the barriers for you as a black woman was that much more difficult than mine as a woman. That's ignorance on my part. The people who are blatantly rude,
Hmm,
condescending, mean, and I don't know specifically, you and I haven't talked about specific stories,
that's right.
but I know what women have gone through in general, and for people to be doing things like that but in a racial way,
I know it's gut wrenching. It is absolutely beyond gut wrenching, and no apologies needed. When you don't know, you just don't know. But there is an expectation when you do know to do better and to
Right.
teach somebody else and pay those things forward, pull somebody else up. It's
Hmm.
it's it's hard, and just like you were saying, Bar, it is like you're a woman, but I'm a black woman, so it's like all these strikes already against me. And once again, everything comes down to beauty. If you're not this little skinny woman with the little bitty bikini and
Now
all
that
that,
I can relate with.
we're overlooked. Our talents,
Right.
our skill levels are just completely overlooked because we don't. Once
This,
again, as women, we're fighting so many different things just to get our turn, just to get our chance on the water. And when I tell you that Mercury, Brunswick, they have been awesome by providing the membership of Freedom Boat Club. Freedom Boat Club rocks. It absolutely rocks. Didn't know I drove a John boat, to go fish in the little ponds and places or whatever. I had the little trolling motor. It was nothing.
if
It
it
was
floats,
absolutely nothing. It floats.
if it
Floats.
floats, it's good.
Right. But when you talk about getting out in Galveston Bay and in a pontoon or the console, the center console boat, I'm just like, oh Jesus. I'm too old for this. Literally, when I tell y'all, going through my boating class, I was like, Jeanine, what are you doing?
You're living.
Old for this. You
You are
cannot get
living.
off and on the boat like you are 20 again. And I was like, okay, if I keep telling myself I can't do it, I really can't do it. And when I tell y'all, I was so scared. And I can swim. Y'all, I was scared to death. But when at Freedom Boat Club, he is one of the very, very, very best at teaching. He made me back in and out and dock. He was like, no, we're gonna do this until you get it right. And I was just shaking. I was just shaking. And he was like, look at this. You've done it. And I had my offshore training. It was good learning the trim switch and having to put on, your personal flotation device and the oh gosh, see, I told you I was just old. Whatever it is that you lock yourself into, the
Oh,
key.
the kill switch.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go. See that kill switch. Just learning those things were vital, and it was things that I didn't even think about or wouldn't have known to do. But at Freedom Boat Club, they teach you well. It is the best thing that could have happened to me because now I'm able to take my group or any women who want to meet up on the weekend. It's a little easier
Hmm.
getting out to fishing spots because of Mercury and Brunswick. Thank y'all, and Freedom Boat Club. Thank y'all so much.
and
Well,
Freedom.
I will have to say, so kudos to you because I am a training captain in Nashville for Freedom Boat Club, and I
Awesome.
have my master captain's license, but I have not done the offshore training. So you're one up on me there.
You know, when I tell you it is, I can go out and, on a charter with anybody and fish because they're driving. But when it's your turn, you start thinking about everybody's life that is
Hmm.
on that boat. So you're so focused on making sure you hit everything just right to make sure that everybody has a good time, and that they're safe.
yep.
Offshore, those waves, That's a different story. It really is. It's deeper water. You know what I'm talking about. It's much deeper water, and
Sure.
you're handling the boat. But once again, the questions. If you have any questions, that here in Galveston, they actually offer boating and safety classes at Sea Star Basin.
If
I may have to go down there and do my offshore training sometime.
Come on, come on.
well, let me put in a request. Freedom Boat Club should get some bass boats in their fleets.
Some locations
Just saying.
do. When I was in Florida, several of them have the Lund. Actually, I have my Lund. I don't know if you can see it. My Lund cup
Oh,
here.
Oh, yeah.
oh, it's
Um,
nice.
but several of them have Lund bass boats in their fleet, and my hope is we get them here in Nashville. I get asked almost every day for fishing boats, and we've got some center console Key West fishing boats here, but I still get asked for bass boats regularly. So my fingers are crossed that we'll be able to get
Yes,
some
yes,
bass
yes.
boats
I think
here.
that would be a huge s- selling point, really.
I would think
I,
so
I
too.
think
As a,
some, yeah, I think some locations actually do have bass boat, but of course it's whatever water that you're close to. Because right now, Freedom Boat Club has right at 300 locations.
Actually, the last number I saw was 332. So it's
332.
just,
Yes, they even have one in Paris,
yeah,
France. Well,
Wow.
France,
And they
23 in
don't have one in
Spain.
Kentucky? Really? They have
Not
one in
yet.
Paris, France, and y'all don't have one in Kentucky.
There will be soon, I'm sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure because they're everywhere
That
now. It is the next best thing of boating because you have you have the freedom to bring your cooler, everything that you're gonna bring. They help you load it. You worry about nothing. You don't clean the
unless you're
boat.
in Kentucky.
Oh, I can't speak enough about
I
Freedom Boat Club.
I'm totally kidding.
I
Angie and
love it.
I have talked about Freedom Boat Club.
They're
I
awesome.
think it's amazing, and the only reason I wouldn't consider it is because of the whole bass fishing tournament thing, and my boat's expensive enough as it is. I'm still flabbergasted at how rough of a road that you've had going through all of this, but I am amazed at the strength and candor that you have going through this. And I can't think of a better advocate for black women for this chore. Like I don't I don't believe in coincidences, or like sometimes I think that our roads are sometimes chosen for us.
Hmm. I agree.
And and I'm not like a religious person. Like I don't mean that I don't believe in God or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't mean that in a religious type way, if that makes sense.
It makes all the sense in the world. I get it, and thank you for even saying that, for seeing it, and that has been my hashtag is when they did the speech at the RBFF conference. I was like, you see me. That's all we're asking for, you know.
Hmm.
We just need the same opportunity that's afforded to everyone else. We
Right.
would like the same opportunities afforded to us without having to fight or having to listen to horrible comments made about our race or um, demeaning us in any way. I just want us to be able to feel safe when we go out. You know, safety is another big thing. But I have to. You know, this is one of the things that how you feel that it's your duty to make sure that the next group that's coming behind me that they don't have to fight the fight that I fought. At least, the way will be paved and opportunities will be better. I'm not going to say that they're going to be just right on the money because everything takes time. And the world is it's going to take some time. It's going to take time. And
Well,
it takes money.
well,
It takes money.
and unfortunately, it seems like sometimes the world gets scarier the further along society goes. Like, s- which is which is crazy, but sometimes it really does feel like that.
Mhm.
But the hope is that the the anglers coming behind all female anglers is that we keep shortening this these struggles that it seems like keep coming up in the industry.
Right.
And i i think that we're getting there, and like you said, that it's gonna take time. I think that it has to take women, men, sponsors. Like, it can't be on any one specific group.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the the men have to hold each other accountable. Sponsors have to stop picking and choosing certain types of stuff and holding each other accountable, or women saying, "You know what? I'm going to pick sponsors that are looking for this type, or I know that they're picking me based on this," or, we all need to be in the fight together. It can't just be
Absolutely.
one group that's doing it. And it really has seemed over the past few years that we have made some ground
Yes.
watching
Yes.
social media.
Yes.
I hope that's true.
It has. I mean, we've made some major strides. Major strides. I look at Sabrina Thompson. She is one of the greatest people that has ever walked this earth. Sabrina Thompson was one of the first African American women that entered the FLW tournament and placed.
Nice.
And, once again, these things are not talked about and not shared enough. Tarika Whitty.
I was
I
gonna say Tarika Whitty.
Yes, she is an awesome angler. All of these women, even Mamie Parker, which is now retired. Mamie Parker, she was the director of U.S. Fish and Wildlife for many years, and nobody knew that she was black. Once again, we were not seen. They hear our names,
Right.
but they don't know our face. And an incident happened at the conference, just like that. Someone was sharing a photo that was of my group, and they spoke about my group. I'm sitting right behind this person. And when I asked for the mic to ask a question, or basically not even ask a question, but to say thank you to Allie for the wonderful share she did, he was like, "Oh, you're Jeanine." He had no idea who I was. I was in his speech, but you have no idea who I am, and I was sitting right behind you. That's how isolated, and it's gut wrenching. But this is the type of thing that happens over and over, and I don't want this to be something that I get used to. Even though you have and you build up your immunity to kind of shrug things off, but it's the time is now We were talking about time and no coincidences. You're right. The time is now. The time is now for everybody to say, okay, what can I do? Let me find an organization, or let me get involved in some DEI work and make sure that they're actually doing the work. It's not about talking about something, it's about actually putting the pedal to the metal and actually getting out there and doing it. And once again, it takes money. Everybody knows that with doing anything, you can't do anything without money. And we do have a GoFundMe. I think it's still posted, but we've had it for a year, and we've only raised like $2,000, and that's in a year's time. So if you guys know of any other creative ways for me to market, because it's just right now.
I'm gonna put the link in the description of the show,
Okay,
and
thank you,
we'll
thank you,
help get it out too.
thank you. I appreciate that so much.
I think the conversation's super important, and, to get it out to as many people as possible because, like Barbara, myself, there's probably a lot of ladies out there that have no idea, you
Wow.
know, and
And that's the
it's,
thing. We can continue the conversation. It's not just this conversation. It's our roundtable conversation. It's the things that we want to ask one another. It's the things that we want to share. And once a year, we have been, for the last 4 years, we haven't been able to do it. It is kind of a retreat. It's called Eat, Pray, Fish, where we all get together, we eat, we pray, we fish, we have a few little, but it's just the sisterhood, the fellowship with all women. We all have a story. We've all gone through something, and we all need each other to elevate this and to start seeing more diversity in the water. Once again, as I told Penny Maybe, it is time for us to color the water. It's time for every race, religion. We have Muslim women that fish, and you know, people turn their nose up at them when they see them in their they fish, and that is the one thing that binds us, is that love of fishing, and we cannot allow anything to tear us apart from each other. Sisters, we this is all we got. We have each other. We have each other.
Right.
The last thing is we're opening our tackle shop. We're going to open up a tackle shop here in Texas City. It is Jay's Bait and Tackle.
That's awesome.
I've always wanted to do it. It's 23,000 square feet of space
Wow.
where we can accommodate fly fishing, saltwater, freshwater, everything fishing. It is a
Wow.
black woman that owns it, and it will be run by women. It will be solely run by women.
That is
that's
freaking
awesome.
awesome.
Yes, so you need to know anything about any swim baits, crank baits, whatever. They'll have to ask a woman.
Love it.
Yes, yes, yes. We are still
Oh,
going through drafting up the plans, and I didn't realize how much stuff was into it, but it's just
that is
everything that,
awesome.
I just think about my uncle's tackle box and just the smell. You know how smells just trigger certain things, and I need that. That brings me closer to him. It's one of the craziest things that I've done or even attempted to do, but I'm excited. I'm ready for the challenge, and
Heck, I'm excited, and I'm nowhere close to Texas.
you're
You
gonna
will
have
be.
to come down when we have our grand opening to be a part of it. I absolutely would love you guys there.
What
Oh,
Absolutely.
when
man.
when
That'd
are
be
you looking
awesome.
to open? Like rough.
It's gonna be about 9 months from now. I would say to 10 months. Just because it's so much work that needs to
Okay.
be done.
That's
It's
that's huge.
it is huge, and it is scary, and it's all
What
those things.
what's the closest lake that you are
It is
to?
that because I live in Texas City, and there's a dike in Texas City where there's like the rocky side of the dike, and then there's the beach side of the dike. And there is a boatload of people that fish there every single day. There's
I have
only
I have no idea where Texas City is. I know where Fort Worth and Dallas. Well, no, wait. Fort Worth is kind of Dallas, so I know where that is.
Houston. It's between Houston and Galveston. I am 15 minutes from
Okay.
Galveston, and I'm about 20 minutes from Houston.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of right in the middle of the cut of everybody. But Texas City is doing a Sixth Street redevelopment project, and I wanted to get in on it. They were looking for diverse traffic, more women to visit downtown. So I was like, what the heck? Let me throw my hat in.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It's very exciting. Very
Oh
exciting.
my gosh. Yeah. What can we do? Like,
Just keep me in your prayers right now, because we're still, like I said, we're still drawing up, drafting up. There's so much HVAC. I mean, it's just, trying to crowd fund. I mean, it has been, we're trying to do so much in such little bits of time. But
okay.
yeah,
I am so happy for you. You just don't even
thank
know. Good for
you. Thank
you.
you.
Good for you.
I appreciate that.
Well, you've definitely given me a lot of perspective on a lot of things, and I am eyes wide open now. And
Awesome.
I'm going to, like I said, eyes wide open. And I appreciate you bringing this, up and like bringing it up very clearly because like I said, I was I'm not going to lie, I was very ignorant and I am sorry for that. And I'm really glad Angie that you're going to share it tomorrow on the Woman Angler because I know I'm not the only one. I'm very much pro sisterhood and I mean it's on our show logo and I'm all for that. I never even thought so.
That's
Platform.
awesome. Thank you guys so much for even
Absolutely.
inviting me to be on the show. Thank you
I
so much.
I am so happy to have you and we're going to keep coordinating on stuff because I'm already thinking of contacts that I have for you.
Oh,
I was like,
great.
wait a minute. So, me and you are going to be in contact for quite a while on stuff. So,
That sounds phenomenal.
you,
Absolutely.
no matter what, are our sister, and we have got your back, Janine.
Oh,
Okay.
you guys, that means everything to me.
We really do. We don't take that lightly. Like we've got your back, okay?
Hashtag we're
Yep.
in the water together.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And go Freedom Book Club.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
freedom! Oh,
I'm going to learn to love
yes! Yes,
them.
freedom is
So
awesome.
I'm going
Yes.
to learn to love them so that they love Kentucky.
Oh, you're gonna have to give Kentucky some love.
I know.
Absolutely.
We fish too. All right,
Right.
ladies. Angie, you be careful leaving tomorrow. I will see
I
you in
will.
Texas.
Yep.
Janine,
Looking forward to it.
you have my info. Anything I can do, okay?
All right. Thank you guys so much. Talk to
Thank
It
you
was
soon.
you.
fun.
All
All
See
right.
you
right.
guys. Bye bye.